Direction 65. The Public Affairs Department of the American Broadcasting Company presents Direction 65. Today, a Catholic Perspective, produced in association with the National Council of Catholic Men. Volume 5, number 19. Conall by Robert Crane.
This is Conall. He's our son. 3 years ago, we were told to place him in an institution for the mentally ill. When I first began to write about Conall, to match these pictures with sound, it was such a difficult thing because it's a very personal thing. So we decided to try to let his sisters and his brothers talk for him and to try to tell his story.
Well, my name is Kathy Crane. Conall is my special brother. He's autistic, and I'm the oldest. I'm 12. Next is my sister Amy. I'm Amy. I'm 11. Conall, he's very loving and very affectionate, and sometimes he always hugs you and everything. So sometimes he pinches me, and that makes me feel very sad. It seems like he doesn't like you anymore. Then comes Mira. She's very cute. She's in 5th grade. My name is Mira, and I'm 10. I sometimes became students because we have Conall, and he may get mad at me if somebody invite me, but it's not really his fault. And then comes Ellen. And my name is Ellen Crane, and I'm 8 years old. Well, Conall is mentally ill, and he doesn't know how to speak very well. He's autistic. Then comes Conall. Autism is a kind of mental illness. I don't even know what it is. Not many doctors even know. It's really a mystery. But people who have autism are kind of wrapped up in their own world. And there are 2 kinds of autism. There's primary autism, that's what Conall has. He was born with it. And there's secondary autism. It happens to children who are grown-ups sometimes. When things are too bad for them, they kind of invert, and then they get autistic. But it's kind of like they're wrapped up in themselves. They're like in a kind of a dream world. This is Peter. He's thin and he's very cute. And I think he doesn't feel very peculiar about Conall. He knows all about him. My name is Peter Clay. Once I was yelling Conall dearly, and he has flashes on my face, and he flashes me every time. He can't talk because he's sick. Then comes Elizabeth, and she's really wild. She's in kindergarten. Then comes Chrissy. He's the cutest boy. He looks like a beetle. He has a little beetle haircut, little brown eyes like a beetle. He's very cute. Then comes Emily, and she's very cute. She's about 7 months now. And Conall really loves the baby. He's always sitting on Mama's lap when Mom's holding her. At first he wouldn't go near her. That's what he always does. Conall has to get used to things. He kind of sneaks up when no one's watching, so no one will really think that he's interested. That's what Conall does. He really loves Emily. We get so excited that she moves and everything. He thinks she's a real living doll. He gets so excited, he just takes out his excitement on something, and she happens to be the nearest thing. And Conall loves Emily very much, and he always kisses her. And Emily likes Conall, and she plays with him. We have a dog, Punch, who's a real chicken. He's scared of everything. Rain, thunder, snow, anything he's scared of. We live in a beautiful house at 22 Chestnut Avenue in Larchmont. I really didn't like it at first. The fence goes all the way around the house. There's 2 big gates, one in the front and one at the back. Conall wants to go out. He wants to explore the world. And I would too if I was Conall, always being fenced in. But he likes to go out occasionally, especially when he's on a bike. That's trouble. He likes to run out of the gate, and then when you're not looking, he runs out because he just doesn't want you to see him. So we're all running around all over the neighborhood looking for Conall. Everyone's in a big panic. And when I think back on the times that Conall once ran away. There only a few times, but it's just like a dream, and I really can't remember much. We call the police department. They're very good. They find them almost right away. And of course, my mother and father go out looking for them, and we do too. And I know we have to be careful of this, because if we have to keep sending the police out to find Conall, then we'll just have to send him away or something, and I don't want that. And when he comes back, a lot of times he's happy, but sometimes he's crying. But Conall really wants to explore, and a boy his age should explore. And so I think it's kind of sad that he can't. He'll go to any place where there's water and there's bread to be thrown. But when we go to a duck farm where there's ducks that come up close, he really doesn't seem to get very excited over that. I guess it's just the bread throwing that sleeps, and the rock throwing. He throws rocks too. Conall goes into the gun store with kind of a glazed expression on his face, runs in, grabs some bubbles, some other thing that costs like $1.98, starts running out. Occasionally he'll grab a thing of toothpaste and a toothbrush. Well, I think he likes the dime store for the mere thing of seeing all the brand names. So he shuts his eyes and runs around. He was a very cute little baby. I still remember him. He always used to smile. And then the thing that was different was when he got older, when it was time for a normal baby would talk, he wouldn't talk. He could say whole records and commercials and things like that, but he never said anything to anybody. He seemed like he was wrapped up all in himself.
When he was born, he was like that, but we didn't know it until he was about 3 or 4.
And sometimes when he was younger, he used to jump off furniture. He wouldn't talk to anyone. He just murmured.
He went to the doctor, and the doctor told Daddy and Mommy that he should go to a psychiatrist. And then he went, and he said that there was something wrong with Conall, but they didn't know what yet. And I think it was every Wednesday, Daddy and Mommy took him and they sort of checked on him.
I remember the clinic had a big green lawn and a lot of apple trees on it. We used to swing on the branches. We never really knew then, I suppose, what was really wrong.
When children are this way, often they're born this way, and it's no one's fault. And yet the discovering of this and the treatment of this and the acceptance of this is and can be an agony for adults and can also be an agony for a family. We were told that Conall might never be cured, that he might never progress, and also that he might destroy us as a family. And we were told to place him in an institution.
My mother and father told us what was really happening. And it was then that I really realized, I was only little then, I think I was about 7 or 8, only in about first grade. But I didn't want Conall to go away.
After we said the family rosy, he told us, and then Mommy said that it wouldn't be too bad, and that you'd go see him, but we didn't really want him to go. And then Mommy said that it would be for his own good, and we didn't mind, but we really wanted him to stay. Well, his fears was that he would forget us, and then when he came home, be scared of us and everything.
But we somehow felt this was wrong for Conall and wrong for us. At the same time, we went through an experience of accepting this and of saying what must be done for him must be done, and we agreed that we would do it if we had to do it.
Yes, I know there are other mentally ill children that do go away, and I really feel exceedingly sorry for their parents and families, but if it's for their benefit, if it's really for their benefit, they really ought to go and then come back sometime when they're cured.
Often there are no facilities. There are no places for the Conalls to learn and to be helped. And there was no place for him. And then we came by chance upon the Kennedy Child Study Center, which is in Manhattan.
And so there we went, we registered Conall, and he went there. He went by a bus all the way to New York, went to get there every day.
They had buses that come and pick him up every morning, and they drive him to school. And it's a long drive, and Mommy always gives him cookies or something to eat.
Conall went back and forth every day from Larchmont, our village, to New York, which is about an hour's drive, and he went to school.
The Kennedy School started with a man who was related to President Kennedy, and he had a mentally ill child, and that child needed help, and so he founded the school, the Kennedy Institution for Mentally Ill Children. The Kennedys had a retarded daughter, so they built the school for all these children that are mentally ill. I think it's John F. Kennedy's father.
The Kennedy Child Study Center was established by the family of the late President John F. Kennedy, and it is run by the Sisters of Charity. And it was at that time run by a most fabulous woman called Sister Serena. Our psychiatrist, who was not a Catholic, when he heard that there might be an opening for Conall in this school, called her one of the most brilliant women in her field, and she is.
Sister Serena was in charge, I think, of Conall School. I know she was very much for mentally ill children. I know she liked Mongoloid. She always used to talk about that. I got very mad at her once because she said that Conall would go to heaven and get with more grace and less effort than we could ever hope to get.
She teaches us to say more words than I think any of the teachers ever have, and he must really love her. He always spells out her name and everything. He spells her name several times, and I didn't even know who he was talking about until Mommy told me. But Sister Serena seems to be a very dear companion to him. Once I met Sister Serena, she was very nice. She would be just the kind of teacher, if I were mentally ill, I like her. Because Conall was always saying, Sister Serena, Sister Serena.
Sister Serena is a simple woman, an educated woman, and a woman dedicated to this field. But beyond this, the children are so dear to her personally that she carries on a constant love affair with children whom we would reject just on their physical appearance. She has taken into this small school of various type children. There are mongoloid and retarded and autistic children like Conall and mentally ill children. And through some magic of intuition and education and talent, she is able to blend all these children together and to help them.
The school helps Conall because he's among other children that are like himself, and then he can usually do things with them that he couldn't do with anyone else. And the teachers are more understanding, and they help him say things that he wouldn't normally do at home, say and do things. I had to go for a test once. First, they sort of ask you questions, and then they get ink spots, and they put it on a piece of cardboard, and they tell you to fold it in half. And then they show it to you, and they ask you what is the first thing that comes to your mind about what you made.
I just admire his teachers because it must be hard on them to work with people like Conall. I think maybe when I grow up, I'd like to do that kind of work. Their main job is to bring Conall out of himself. I know they read books. Whenever I went to pick him up to get him, they'd be singing songs, and even though half the children wouldn't be participating and just sitting there staring around, the other half would. And gradually everyone would, and that's important. And I think that's what a teacher really has to do, and I think that's the primary thing.
I just knew he doesn't know that she says, come on, Conall, let's do something, and he doesn't know to do, he might get very mad and start stamping his feet and biting his hands. They help him obey, and they help him know how to make things and get things into his mind. And he learns how to cut, he knows how to color. Once he brought home a pumpkin that he colored and cut up by himself, and it was very good. I remember once when we were helping move some toys into the daycare where he goes, well, some of the children were riding bikes and bumping into people, but another boy, he kept hugging me, and he was very nice.
Well, they're a lot like Conall, even though some of them have different mental illnesses, but they're all very sweet children. They're very nice. Even though they have their queer things, they're very cute and adorable anyway. I don't want to make fun of any of them. They're just few things. I suppose I'm just as weird as they are. I think they have to get used to you, too.
And there's one boy I saw, he used to always kiss people, and he was kissing his hands all the time. Well, I feel very sorry for them if they should do something like that. I mean, someone who doesn't know that they're mentally ill would think they were crazy.
Then you come to realize that these are his peers and these are his friends. They work together and they help each other and they learn together. And once you become used to them and once you see them as you are, you see this wonderful little society of very, very special children. In this world, no matter whether you're religious or not religious, you wonder about the value of children like these and why there should be biological mistakes such as these.
Mentally ill children aren't mistakes. God must have planned them. He must have in the world. Because even Einstein was kind of autistic when he was a little boy, and think of all the wonderful things he gave us today in our modern world.
God couldn't just make everybody perfect.
God makes it that way because he
just makes it that way. Because he wants it. But I never really came to an answer.
Well, it may not be fair to the person who's mentally ill. I don't think it's very fair, but they're still trying to cure them, and that's all they can do.
And women like Sister Serena, if they could reach other people, beyond Catholic people, beyond religious people, could convince them that these children are special children, children to be cared for and loved and valued because they, in their own way, do so much for us all if we can admit that they exist. The problem for many Conalls in the world, there are no facilities, and this is the tragedy of being a Conall. And we all think not only of him, but of all the Conalls all over the world who don't have help and who vegetate.
I think about their mother and fathers and how worried about them they are, and how they're trying to help them and help them by themselves.
But sometimes they make me feel sad because we're getting good things for Conall, but some of them can't afford it or else there's no room or something. I think that they should build lots of places where the people can be taken care of. I tried to get more teachers and more buildings and everything for them. So I think they should make more schools, and then every year they should at least build about 13 more schools or something. So, because there are lots of people like Conall.
Well, I think a lot of the other autistic children in the world have a hard time because sometimes the parents don't want to take them to clinics. But I really feel a little sorry for some of them because they must be lonely. I don't think Conall is lonely because he has all the little boys and girls in his school who are like him, and they like him a lot, I know that. But I think he's not lonely because he has all of us. But I feel sorry for the other ones, and I always pray for them because it's just like they don't have anyone to help them sometimes. And a lot of them have people to help them, but they never get well. But I'm very sure that Conall will. At least he'll get better and better.
He bloomed and blossomed there, and from a little boy who would sit in the corner and never look at you, and from a little boy who would never speak a word, he became a boy who could slowly speak words and who slowly looked at you and who wanted to kiss you and who wanted to be loved by you.
He keeps telling us about what he did, and he unpacks his book bag and he brings things from the store, and so we see what he has from school every day. He's a bore in summer. Conall is a bore. But to watch him for hours, it's boring. But anyway, I really don't mind sometimes. It's fun to get away from other work and watch him. But I guess Conall is part of our family, so we all have a responsibility toward him.
I don't think he's very lonely. Here he plays with Peter, and he fights with Peter sometimes for fights, and he plays with us a lot in the yard.
I think it helps Conall be with a big family because when he has younger children and older children, he can choose which one he likes best, and whenever he wants the younger children to go away, he picks on the older ones.
I think it's good because he can have someone to fight with and everything to play with.
Well, I really couldn't say I'm not Conall, but I really don't know how it must be for him. I wish I knew, because I wish I knew if he really loved me, because he says my name. He says Kathy. I guess that's better than not saying anything else at all. But I wonder whether it means do this for me or whether it means Kathy. But when he's sad or when he's scared, a lot of times we can't do anything because sometimes he just runs away from you. And it's kind of sad then because no one can really comfort Conall sometimes. But I guess most of the time he's pretty happy. Conall's very smart when he's looking at books. He identifies things. He can tell man, necktie, shirt. He's very smart.
No, he spells words. And he goes like R, and then now he repeats it, and then he goes E, and then he repeats it, and he spells words. And the first word that I remember he ever spelled was New Yorker.
When he draws pictures, sometimes he demonstrates what he wants you to draw, and sometimes he usually says to us, he first wants a pencil and paper, then he says to us, you want a house, you want a merry-go-round, and we have to draw it. But with his houses that we have to draw for him, he wants very complete. He has to have the chimney, the stairs, the doorknobs, the smoke coming out of the chimney, and things like that. Once he even wanted a window shade. Peter and Conall always play fight in the bathtub, which makes it very difficult to keep the water off the floor. He was very excited one time when he was splashing me, and I got totally all wet by the time I was done. And Peter and Christopher, I think, were in the bathtub with him. And they helped along. And, usually when I bring my friends over, before I bring them over, I tell them about Conall, and they usually understand. Usually they're very nice, and they really understand about him, and they don't care. But one silly friend I have, she's very silly. When she saw him running around without anything on, and she was laughing and laughing, and to this day she still remembers it.
Well, sometimes I just have to tell him that he won't hurt them because he gets scared and makes me feel kind of embarrassed.
But I don't mind this too much. I get a little embarrassed when guests are here, and I think they are too. But really, it's just that as long as Conall's happy, and it's not really hurting anybody horribly, and it's giving him a sense of family unity, I really don't mind that much. When Conall says the rosary, he likes to take shortcuts. We usually give him the last second of the rosary because we all like to really pray in the first. But then sometimes he said, it's so funny, we just couldn't help laughing at him a little because he said, the Lord is with thee. And at the end it's so funny, you just couldn't hold yourself. I don't know whether Conall really knows saying the rosary is religious. But I guess he likes it because everyone does it. When it comes to Church of Saved Exit, he abbreviates it, Hail Mary, Jesus. That's the end. I suppose maybe in his mind he's saying everything, but he's not saying it out loud. Sometimes I hate Conall because he gets very mean and pinky. And then when I tell him to come down to dinner, he gets so mad, he throws temper fits and he throws books around the room, and I get so mad at him for those things, but then it's not his fault. We have to watch him, and sometimes it's not very nice. Well, that's where it goes. Like when he goes into my room and messes up some of my homework, that really makes me mad. But it's just that I can't stay mad at him for too long. I know that because I make up with him, of course. But I often get mad at him, life isn't all roses.
Well, he has a bad temper, and we tell him temper, and he stops, and I think he learned that at the Kennedy School.
The trouble, one of the problems with the Conall is that you come to the end, and we came to the end of the Kennedy School when Conall was too old, when there was no place for Conall to go after that. At one point, I was going to England to do a play over there, and my wife said, you can go as long as you have to, if you can get to Lourdes and for Conall. So, in the middle of rehearsals, I left London and went to Lourdes, and the day that I got there, the Lourdes was filled with, I think it was from Germany, cart after cart and stretcher after stretcher of young children like Conall, some of them unable to sit up and some of them unable to even hold their heads up. And you realize that Conall wasn't alone in the world. And that day, I carried Conall in my heart through Lourdes and prayed not only for him but for our Conall.
and we brought back some North water, and we give it to Conall every night. When we're giving it to Conall, it's a sign to our Blessed Mother that we really believe that she will cure him. It isn't like a medicine or anything. It's just really like a proof of faith.
Miraculously, thanks to the Kennedy School, he was able to register an IQ. And because he was able to register this IQ, he has now been accepted into the public school system in special classes that have been set up here. And he goes off to school every morning, like every other little boy of 8, to a special class with children like himself.
I think that Conall can really be cured sometime, and I never give a thought to what if he's not, but at times I do a little bit, but not very much. I usually got my heart set on him being cured. He wasn't cured. I'm still going to be praying to Our Lady, and my mother says when he is cured, we're all pretty sure he will be. We're all going to go to Lourdes and help out people who come here.
I have faith in God because I'm sure he'll get well. He's going so well now that I'm sure nothing else could happen. He's going very well.
I think he is because he's learning slowly, but he'll make it.
Spell your name. Can you spell Conall? C-O-N-N-L-L-L. Conall. Now spell Crane.
Here I am in Crane.
Very good. That's your name. With the right facilities, all of this can be a blessing and a wonder. And we feel for us that Conall has become a wonder.
God must think something of us if he thinks that we're worthy enough to have an angel in the family. And that makes me feel good, you know.